Elsie's grown accustomed to trash talk, insults, even ethnic slurs.
We would go into gyms and people would throw pennies at us and say, "Pick it up, you Jew." I mean, we went through everything. And what's funny to me is the person that's trash talking to me doesn't realize that I get that every day. Everywhere I go, someone has something to say to me.
His response? Let his game do the talking. His first chance as a college player comes November 18th. Steve Davis, Fox 45.
The Jews of the Ghetto form an alliance with the resistance fighters and build hiding places in the cellars and bunkers, stocked with food and arms enough to outlast another deportation. The Jewish Fighting Organization is deployed in 22 squads spread over 3 ghetto areas. On April 19, 1943, Easter Sunday, the Germans launch a final Aktion. A large, well-trained force of 2,000 troops and 36 commanders with tanks and heavy artillery sets out to battle several hundred poorly armed ghetto fighters. The Germans have planned every detail, including a film crew to document the campaign of destruction and deportation. On the first day of the uprising, SS General Jürgen Stroop writes in his log, "While deploying our units, Jews and bandits launched an organized attack. Molotov cocktails were thrown at the tank and 2 armored cars. Twice the tank caught fire. We lost 12 men."
At 4 in the morning, we saw a column of Hitlerites moving along Nalewki Prospect toward the central ghetto. Marching endlessly. Suddenly, I felt how weak we were. But then, when we saw what they were throwing into the fight against us, our spirits soared.
The German forces broached the ghetto along Nalewki Street, spit-polished, in high spirits, singing a military march. When they reach the corner of Gensha, bombs, grenades, and Molotov cocktails fly from house number 33. The Germans disperse and withdraw, leaving their casualties on the pavement. There are no Jewish losses. A second German column heads from the ghetto gate to Zamenhof Street, but the Germans place Jewish police ahead of the troops to shield them from the first burst of fire.
I asked what I should do, attack or not. I was told to wait. After the Jewish policemen passed, the German motorized column came into view. An electric mine exploded among them with a tremendous blast. That was the signal to open fire. We threw hand grenades from all sides, from every position on both sides of the road. The battle raged for half an hour. The Germans retreated, leaving many dead and wounded. One heavy tank went up in flames, and another got stuck.
During the afternoon, units of the Jewish Military Union concentrate around Muranov Square, directing withering pistol and machine gun fire at the German troops. The Jewish fighters hoist a blue and white flag, and alongside it, the flag of Poland. They block the German advance and knock out a tank. As the first day of battle ends, the results are better than expected. The fighters are euphoric. Most of the action on the second day takes place in the Brushmakers area. 5 squads of Eyal fighters are deployed here, led by Marek Edelman. At 2 o'clock, a German column approaches the gate. A Jewish fighter detonates a mine, and the Germans withdraw with their wounded. When they return, the fighters open fire with everything they have. A German artillery crew is wiped out. On the 4th day of the uprising, the Germans change tactics. They set fire to the ghetto to flush the people from their bunkers, the fighters from their positions. The troops systematically burn block after block of houses, then dynamite them. Still, writes General Stroop, many Jews refuse surrender, choosing instead to leap to their deaths from the flame-lapped windows.
The asphalt melts under our feet and becomes a sticky, soft black goo. One after another, we escape through the flames, from house to house, from yard to yard. There is no air to breathe. Burning timbers topple around us.
SS Commander Heinrich Himmler wires his men in Poland.
The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising must be put down mercilessly with an iron fist. The tougher the better. This shows just how dangerous the Jews really are.
General Stroop reports. The girls were as heavily armed as the men. They had pistols in both hands. Again and again, they hid guns and grenades in their undergarments. On the fifth day, Stroop sends his troops in to comb the ghetto for bunkers and blow them up. The Jewish fighters change tactics, fighting by night, setting up ambushes in the attics. The burning of the ghetto continues. The Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, hits pockets of resistance with incendiary bombs. At the end of the first week, the fighters abandoned the attics for new positions among the ruins and in the bunkers below, ready to deploy for nighttime raids. General Stroop reports the destruction of 631 bunkers, but more remain. The Battle of the Bunkers becomes a stubborn popular struggle, with all the Jews taking part.
I cannot think of anything but a breath of air. I sit here, my mouth agape as to all around me, deluding ourselves that we can swallow some air. No one talks. It makes breathing harder. Everyone's on edge. We haven't eaten in 24 hours.
On May 7th, the Germans discover the bunker at 18 Mila Street, the headquarters of Mordechai Anilevich and some 100 fighters. The Germans toss in gas and smoke grenades. Many of the uprising leaders, including Anilevich, commit suicide. Only a handful manage to escape. On the 9th of May, they descend into the sewers in a desperate attempt to get out of the ghetto. Stroop reports. Today at 9 o'clock, by the manhole on Prosta Street outside the ghetto, Jews who commandeered a light truck were seen detonating 2 grenades, a signal to the thugs in the sewer to come out. All of them were armed. They emerged, got into the truck, and drove off. On May 16th, Stroop assembles his staff to watch the dynamiting of the Great Synagogue outside the ghetto walls. To the Germans, this act signifies the end of the uprising, the end of the ghetto. Stroop proclaims there is no longer a Jewish quarter in Warsaw. But the celebration is premature. Polish sources say the ghetto fighting continues. They report hearing gunfire from the ghetto as late as October. Living and fighting among the ruins, the last fight